For simple interest, we're going to begin by looking at an example. Let's imagine that a student takes out a loan from a bank for $60,000. And 4 years later, when she's finished with college, she pays back the bank, she pays back her loan, and she pays $70,000. So our question is, how much interest did the student pay to the bank? When a bank gives out a loan, they profit by adding interest. This is the money that the bank charges you for giving you a loan. And this means that the amount you pay back to the bank is greater than the amount that they loaned out to you. This is how banks make money or make a profit. There are several different kinds of interest, and we're going to study simple interest. And as the name suggests, simple interest is the simplest and most straightforward calculations for interest. There are 4 parts to the equation to calculate interest: principal, interest rate, term, and interest. And in our different formulas, you'll see these using a P for principal, R for interest rate, T for term, and I for interest. With all of this information, you can also calculate the total amount of the loan. So let's take a look at these one by one. First off, the principal. The principal is the original amount loaned. So principal is the original amount loaned. Interest rate, R, the interest rate is a percentage that determines how much interest will be charged per year. When dealing with interest rates, 1 year is considered to be 12 30-day months, or 360 days. In this case of our example, our interest rate is going to be 5%. Okay, so 5%. We could say 5% per annum. We could say 5% per year, or we can just say a 5% interest rate. They're all the same thing. And a 5% interest rate means that you would pay $5 on a loan of $100 in a year. And although the interest rate is given as percent, we need to convert those to decimals to use in our problems. So 5% is 5 per 100, 5%, which we would convert then to a decimal of 0.05 to use in our problems. Okay? The term is the length of time that interest is being applied to the loan. So in this case, we're talking about our term is 4 years, a college loan. And then interest is the extra money owed to the bank at the end. So if you know principal, interest rate, and term, then the interest can be calculated. The total amount is equal to the principal plus the interest, and it shows the amount of money that will be paid back to the bank, including both the loan and the interest. So to calculate the amount of interest, we can take the total amount paid back to the bank. So in our case that we started with, she paid back a total of $70,000 minus the loan amount of $60,000 that she borrowed for college. And we can see that on this loan, the interest paid was $10,000. Let's look at an example calculating simple interest. So first of all, I want to look at my formula for simple interest. It's going to be my principal times the interest rate times the term. So here's an example of a problem. If a loan is $500, that's my principal, the original amount loaned. The interest rate is 10%, how much interest would you pay if the term is 2 years? So let's look at our formula here. Our interest equals our principal, which is $500, times our interest rate, which is 10%, 10% per year, 10% per annum, 10%. But like we talked about before, we can't leave it in percent. We need to convert it to decimal form. So I'm going to multiply by 0.10 for 10% converted to decimals, and times my rate, or sorry, my term of 2 years. So 500 times 0.1 times 2. So my interest, when I calculate that, turns out to be $100. So I'm going to pay interest of $100 on my $500 loan. So if I want to look now at what the total amount would be, the total amount paid back to the bank would be the $500 I borrowed plus the $100 of interest, and I would end up paying a total of $600.